We are trying to read 8 books. Yes, this is gonna be a month of a lot of reading. Oh, my TBR for this week is fire! So apparently I don't know what I like. February is one of my favorite reading months of the year because I exclusively read books by Black authors. I try to discover new Black creators and I try to promote Black content even more than normal because it is Black History Month. And because of that, people are more okay with me shoving this kind of content down their throats. So, buckle up, grab your favorite note-taking tools, and get ready for a speed round of Black book recommendations that you should read. Starting with the first and only book on this list that I have not read yet, which is the February and March POC Book Club pick, Body and Soul Food by Abby Collette. This is a cozy mystery about 2 siblings opening up a soul food restaurant and having to solve a mystery in the process. Next, we have the book Grown by Tiffany D. Jackson, and this is about grooming an abusive relationship wrapped up in a thrilling murder mystery, which 5 stars. 5 stars. Then we have The 5th Season by N.K. Jemisin, which is the first book in a high fantasy trilogy about a woman who is on a search to find her daughter while the world is coming to an end. It is a little bit more complex than that, but that gives you a general idea. Absolutely love it. Highly recommend. 5 stars. Which I guess I should mention, all of these are 5 stars, except the first one since I haven't read it yet. Then we have Act Your Age, Evie Brown by Talia Hibbert, and this is the 3rd book in the Brown sisters romance trilogy. I don't think it matters what order you read them in. This one is definitely my favorite, and it's basically a story about a woman who accidentally runs over her future employer and decides to stick around and help him out while he recovers, and romance ensues. And lastly, we have Ring Shout by Peta Jelly Clark, and this is an action horror novella about Black monster hunters fighting Ku Klux Klan monsters. 5 stars. Good time, real quick read, highly recommend. I also have a dedicated video with recommendations for graphic novels by Black creators, which you can see here. Now that we got that out of the way, let's figure out what my TBR is going to be for this week. To the first Black History Month reading vlog that I'm going to be doing. I am starting out with X, a novel by Elazia Shabazz and Kikla Magoon, and this is about Malcolm X. I have some other books that I'm a little bit more excited about. This week we're kind of going with thriller books and literary fiction, and so I am a little bit more excited about like the thriller horror books admittedly, but this is one book that I have on my 2023 A through Z challenge, obviously for the letter X. And in general, even though I tend to be hesitant about picking up books like these, I usually end up really enjoying them. So far, we are basically just being introduced to Malcolm X before he becomes what we know. So it's kind of his young life, what he's dealt with. There's like the Great Depression, there's issues with his family after his father dies, things like that, and getting into different types of problems. And so far it's pretty fascinating. Yeah, it jumps back and forth in the timeline in a way that's relatively interesting. Like, I do like it. Like, we have a general timeline of him ending up in Harlem, but then we also have his younger life. I don't know. I'm finding it very interesting so far. I'm excited to see what goes on. Excited to vlog this whole experience with you guys. I hope you guys enjoy. I will give you an update when I am further along, because I'm hoping to finish this today and get into the next book pretty quickly. Let's get into it. Okay, so I'm further into X by Eliza Shabazz and Kikla Magoon, and we just got to a dancing scene. I'm not going to spoil anything, but if you've read it, you know, and I am so irritated. I'm just so irritated. At this point, a lot of his decisions are kind of stupid. He's young, he's immature, he's getting into the wrong crowds, he's got the wrong things on his mind, and you know, it's a little frustrating to see that happening. So I am really interested in seeing kind of the turning point, but admittedly part of me is all like, can we get to it? I don't personally enjoy this story, even though it's a very common one. It's understandable. I'm sure there's plenty of people who enjoy it, but I just don't like watching people pretty much sabotage themselves. Not like that's what is happening. It's just his actions, although, you know, they seem meaningless now, like they're just building up. It's just like you are playing with fire constantly. Yeah, I guess we'll see how it goes. Okay, so first book done. This is kind of a bummer because I didn't realize that this was going to be his life before he became Malcolm X, and just that. I mean, it was still an interesting story. It's nice to see, I don't know if humble beginnings is the right way to say it, to see how different his life was, basically. So it's basically his life up until prison. So we're gonna move on to the next book. Something completely different, The Wicker King by K. Ankrum. Level of whatever in there. But yeah, I will probably give you an update maybe tomorrow after I finish these two, and then I'm on to the next one, because we are going to be reading a lot. Like a lot. So stay tuned. I guess I might give you some small updates for this, but most of it I'm gonna save for the Besties exclusive spoiler-free vlog. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Okay, so I finished the next two books on the list. These were Besties TBR picks, and so I just did a exclusive video for the Besties over on Patreon, which you can join if you want to get extra content and help the channel out. Shameless plug. I want to save these for last. This one specifically because I'm the most excited about this one. This one, I know it's a hit or miss, but that does mean our next book is going to be The Death of Vivek OG. And I'm excited about this because I know so many people love this, but I'm also like, am I emotionally ready for this? Like, am I prepared for the emotional journey we're about to go on? I don't think so, but hopefully, I don't know. Today is a really busy meeting day at work, so I don't think I'm going to be able to read a lot. Yesterday ended up working out really nice because I was basically doing like filling out spreadsheets with information. So I was just like looking at information and putting it into the spreadsheet, which was super mindless. Perfect for listening to audiobooks. I love those kind of tasks. Today, not so much. Yeah, I will give you an update once I start this. Hello, hi, good morning. So I was originally thinking for some reason that I don't understand that these two books were the books that were picked for the Besties TBR game that I did, but I just edited that video yesterday and realized that these were not the 2 books. So that means I'll do like a recap. We have The Wicker King by Kay Ankrum. Several days later, still not 100% sure how I feel about this one. This is about 2 guys who are reckless and who have an attachment to each other, and one of them starts hallucinating and the other one is trying to support them by believing in them, and stuff happens. Yeah, this was interesting. I don't know. I really don't fully know how I feel about it. Like, there's part of me that can get behind it. There's another part of me that's all like, there are problematic things in here. I don't know. So I'd love to hear your thoughts if you read this, because like I am so unsure of myself still. And then we have Smash It by Francina Simone. And this is a coming of age story about a girl who kind of sits by the sideline and doesn't stand out and doesn't do things that she wants to do for fear of embarrassing herself. And eventually she decides that she's going to make a fuck it list, which is basically all of the things that she's just going to be like, you know what? I'm just gonna do it. It's basically a yes list. In the process of trying to do the yes list, things get a little messy. This book is filled with so many things that I typically dislike about YAs, and one of the reasons why, even though I read them all the time, I'm always all like, I'm not really into YA, but I loved this book. So there is a romance element to it. It's mostly coming of age. It's mostly learning about oneself. Romance is a big part of it though. We have friendships, we have messiness, we have just a lot of different things. And yeah, I loved the character. I listened to the audiobook and it was very beautifully done. Yeah, 5 stars. Which means the next book that I want to read for this vlog is The Death of Vivek Oji. And in my normal fashion, I have been putting it off. I'm like so scared of this book. I think it's silly. Like, it's silly that I'm so scared of this book, but I am. So I think today we're going to try and tackle it. I'm going to be doing some work on my tarot deck. So I'm going to be doing some illustrations, listening to audiobook, and trying to get a couple more books down. I also need to edit this video a little bit because it's supposed to go out next Tuesday, and I don't want to like have so much to do. I don't know why this camera is not focusing when it should, so there's just moments of blur. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna try and read this and I'll give you an update when I'm further into it. So I'm like not even a chapter in. And I'm already feeling emotional. And we still don't know everything that's happening. Like, we are just being introduced, but there's just a line that one of them says, and I knew this book was gonna wreck me. I don't know, we'll see. We will see. It's funny because like at first I was like, what's going on? Like, I'm confused. Because it just like went back to characters and it was talking about, and I'm like, what's happening? Yeah, okay, well, we're off to a good start. And then I'm trying to figure out which card I want to do. I have thumbnails for cards already. I realize that this isn't going to be a Dark Academia deck. I'm just going to stick with Cottagecore because that's kind of what I was doing originally. It was more Cottagecore than Dark Academia. I'm working on this one. I'm excited about this one because I'm thinking I might turn this into a Patreon reward. Right now, thinking of using this as a Patreon print. I'm a huge fan of how it turned out. It's basically the first like finished illustration that I've done in a while. But anyway, let's get back to having my heart broken, and I will give you another update probably when I get emotional again. Okay, so it's not a surprise. I knew that I was going to be crushed. I never want to read the emotional sad books, and yet they're always my favorite ones. Okay, I had a little bit of time to kind of settle, and I realized that this actually works for one of the Blackathon prompts. If you don't know, I'm participating in Blackathon. This is my 3rd year, I think, doing it. Basically, since I officially joined BookTube back in 2021, although I think last year I kind of half-assed it, but this year I'm going in hard, and I am going to be trying to complete every prompt for all of the teams because I want to read a lot this month. This works for the Hatshepsut, which is Egypt's longest running female and gender defiant pharaoh. And this is for a book of any genre by a trans black diasporic author. And Akwaeke Emezi is non-binary. I think that ends up fitting in this genre. They go by they, them. And I know that Jessie, who also goes by they, them, included them as one of the authors who works for this prompt. Admittedly, these prompts always make me kind of uncomfortable personally because I'm like, well, one, it's hard to kind of find that information out. I also don't want to call people out on things that they're, you know, not publicly this, that, or the other. I don't want to make assumptions, but fortunately, like right on the back here, it does state that they go by they, them. So that counts for that prompt. So I have 5, so 15 prompts. I'm not sure if She Would Be King is going to be my cup of tea, but I keep saying that. And every time I read one of the books that I think isn't going to be my cup of tea, I end up loving it. So apparently I don't know what I like. Like this is what I am learning. I don't know. I don't know about myself. My favorite books are literary fiction, but I hate literary fiction. Oh my god, of course, it can't be easy. But yeah, so 1 out of 15 here. I'm also going to be participating in the Black Romance-a-thon by Deja. So if you're interested, stay tuned because next Tuesday you'll be getting Romance-a-thon content. And I'm excited. I'm going to try and read all the things. There's 9 prompts for that I'm also going to read, and I'm hoping that we can double up a little bit. Thinking the next book that I want to read is Passing, and then I might throw in As the Wicked Watch by Tamron Hall, which is interesting because I realized that I've read another book from Tamron Hall and I hated it. It was like one of the first 1-star DNFs that I've gotten because it was I hated it. And it was We All Fall Down, the Agatha Christie retelling of And Then There Were None. I was not into it. So a little bit nervous, not gonna lie. Hopefully I'll like this one more. Okay, so we finished the next book, Passing by Nella Larson, and I don't know what to rate this. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I feel kind of impartial to it. Like, it was an experience. I'm glad I read it. It did some interesting things. It's in general not my cup of tea. So I don't know. I guess somewhere between a 3 stars and a 2 stars, but 2 stars seems harsh since I have like nothing against it. But I also didn't like it enough to really say a 3 star. Like, it's a 2 star, but not a bad 2 star. I don't know. It's a weird situation. I had nothing against this. Like, this is a book I understand people would like. I also understand people not liking it. But that does mean we can go on to the next book, which is supposed to be one of these, and I'm not sure. So the last book we're going to read is Within These Wicked Walls because I'm the most excited about that. I think I should probably go with As the Wicked Watch because I'm worried about whether or not I'm gonna like it. I want to get it over with. All right, as for the tarot card project, I started setting up the thumbnail bits, and so I'm putting in the thumbnails that I've done before into these and then doing additional thumbnails because I do want to come up with choices and have the ability to expand upon the ideas that I like more. That way I can get the best ideas out of it. So yeah. Hello, 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 hello. Okay, so I am currently reading As the Wicked Watch. I'm about 37% into the book, so not very far. I am enjoying it, but I'm not as grit as I am with some other books. This is technically my cup of tea, but it's easy to, like, if for some reason I have to stop reading to not jump back into it as quickly because it's like the setup. This is about a news reporter who is covering a missing girl gone murder situation that not there yet, but I think turns into kind of a serial killer sort of situation. And as she's just covering this, she starts uncovering clues and hints as to what actually happened, because it's pretty much a situation of negligence on the cop side, because it is a young black girl that they deemed a runaway when she was obviously abducted, and so they didn't actually look for her until it was too late. And so it touches upon those topics, and I think it's really well done. I love mysteries, whether it be like a cop or detective, or in this case, a news reporter. I actually really enjoy that. I know a lot of people don't like cop stories, but like I like the idea of a good guy in those positions, even if it's just fantasy. No, I know not all cops are bad, but the system's corrupt. I enjoy this kind of stuff in general, but it hasn't really gripped me yet. But I realize that I'm still early on into it. We just haven't gotten to the stuff. Today, I'm mainly just gonna try and read. We have 3 books left for the vlog, which will put me up to, what am I on? I'm at 5 right now, so which will put me up to 8 books this week. We are trying to read 8 books. Yes, this is gonna be a month of a lot of reading. Okay, so I have finished As the Wicked, watched by Tamron Hall. I enjoyed it, somewhere between high 3 stars, low 4 stars. I'm definitely gonna continue with the series. Yeah, this was a good one. I liked it a lot. So good way to start the weekend. And I guess that means let's get into the second to last book that we're gonna try and do. I guess it's possible that I might try and add some on. We might get some more added to the bunch if I finish these quickly, but we're gonna get into The Weight of Blood and see if I can finish this today. Like, how are things gonna go? Okay, so I am reading The Weight of Blood by Tiffany D. Jackson, and a lot of people don't like this because 2 of the perspectives that we are hearing from are from racist characters. Now, I like it because they are not extreme racist, right? So we have a black character who denies racism in the area because he's basically on the in crowd and he's ignoring blatant racism around him. And then we have his girlfriend who is dating a black guy and therefore assumes that she can't be racist. So I think it's really important to see from these perspectives because there's a lot of these characters in the world that need to learn from this, right? Not like this necessarily, but just like in general. Anyway, I'm enjoying it, but I cannot wait until all of these races get their comeuppance. Anyway, before I get back into The Weight of Blood, I have some bookish packages, so I thought I would open it. It'd be really quick. There's just 2 things here. So I ended up getting this Anatomy of Greek Love tea towel from the bookish box. And it's a little bit lighter than it looked on the website. I think it showed up as more of like a tan brown. And I mean, like it is, but it just seemed like it was like a tad darker. And then the second thing is a bonfire order from Kayla because she's doing a mood reading thing, and so I ended up getting the mood read t-shirt. I don't really wear graphic tees normally. I usually sleep in them, so I got it extra big so that I can wear it to bed comfortably. So this is a lie. I am not a mood reader. I'm a TBR reader. Now it is true that once I build my TBR, I mood read from my TBR from that month, and I also add on top of my TBR in kind of a mood read way, but it's more like, oh, these are books that I'm reading, what else is on my TBR shelf that is similar? And then I kind of try and construct, you know, like a smaller TBR. So, lies. Lies, lies, lies. But I love the idea of being a mood reader, so don't at me, okay? Like, it is what it is. I'm just going to get back to this. We're not going to the movies today. We're actually going to go tomorrow. So I'm just going to read as much as I can today. So it is the last day of the first week of Black History Month, regular reading vlogs, reading all the good books by Black authors. I am so excited about this. I've really been enjoying this and I hope that you do too. So we are going to be finishing up the TBR. We're reading so many books. I believe we're on track to get to 8 books this week, which yes, that's great, especially considering it was a short week. We started on Wednesday, but here we are, 8 books in. I'm excited. So I guess let's get to it. Okay, so I'm currently reading The Weight of Blood by Tiffany D. Jackson. I actually didn't get that far into it yesterday, so I'm just gonna kind of sit down, relax, and try and see how far I can get into it. Hopefully we can finish this before I go to the movies and start our next and possibly final book for the vlog. So let's get to it. Okay, I just finished The Weight of Blood by Tiffany D. Jackson. I loved it. 5 stars. It had the conversation. It added more to the original story. It added purpose. It is basically like a conversation starter. I think it was beautifully done. I'm surprised by people who don't like it. And like the reasons, obviously they cannot like it if they want, that's like up to them, but I just don't agree. I feel like if you're somebody who loves the original story of Carrie, there's going to be something like a nostalgia behind it. I think this is different, even if the general things that happened are all the same, which I'm not saying because I never read the original. The conversation that is to be had in this situation, I think is very powerful, very meaningful, and I think the story was a perfect story to do it. I liked how it ended. I enjoyed the conversations. I enjoyed points made at the end. I liked the method of the story. I liked the podcast elements to it. I think that was actually fantastic. And then also the like investigation, trying to prove or disprove what happened, along with hearing the actual people who were there. And yeah, I loved it. I freaking loved it. I loved the approach. I loved the characters that we were hearing from. I loved the conversations. I loved it. I loved it. So let's hope that our last book of the vlog, Within These Wicked Walls, is also as enjoyable. So this, as far as I'm aware, is a haunted house story about a girl and a house. I don't know. But this is the type of book that I feel like I want to go in knowing as little as possible. So I will let you know after I start. And again, hopefully I love it, because I love haunted house stories, but they can be a hit or a miss. Let's see, fingers crossed. Okay, so I have started Within These Wicked Walls, and so far it seems like there is this castle, house, whatever, in a certain area that is haunted by an evil eye. And we have our main character who was raised in the church and is brought there to basically exorcise the house of the evil eye. There's more to it, but like that is the basic understanding, and we're going to be with them throughout the process of this whole experience. So I believe the whole thing is going to take place in this castle for the most part. So that means this actually works for another Blackathon prompt. A book of any genre with an impressive creative architecture or set largely in one building. Did anything else that I've read so far count for any of these prompts? A Black girl protagonist who is not afraid to be loud, confrontational, or take up space. Yeah, so we have As the Wicked Watch works for that. Okay, so that means we have 3 of the 15 prompts. So for mixed race, we could probably go with The Weight of Blood. So of books that I've read already, Smash It could work for sex positive, because we have some sex positive conversations that are had here, and I think the whole thing around it works. It's not sexy smutty though, it's more self-empowering, sex positive. So that could work, but I'm also going to be reading a whole bunch of romance books next week, so I feel like something more fitting will probably come then. Anyway, back to the normal update. Yeah, so we're making progress, and I'm feeling good about the book. It's vaguely interesting so far. The characters within this house that like hired her, weird. I think we're going to discover some interesting stuff. I'm totally here for it. And then I'm also glad to be making progress on Blackathon as well, since that is a big thing that I'm going to be doing throughout the month. Because like I said, I want to do a different book for each of the 15 prompts. Okay, so I am a little bit further into Within These Wicked Walls, and I'm not enjoying it as much as I would like. The general idea is nice. We aren't getting a lot of spooky vibes, and there's this kind of relationship aspect that's happening that I'm not here for. Like, I find myself like rolling my eyes at some of the things that are happening, and I'm just all like, what? Is this what the story is going to be focused on? Like, where's the intrigue? Okay, so we're back from the movies. We ended up seeing Missing. Really enjoyed it. I do have some nitpicky things about it, but overall it was a good time. We all enjoyed it. Thumbs up. I then finished Within These Wicked Walls, and I was disappointed. I'm not gonna lie. I was so excited about this book, and then I get to it and it was a little bit less about the haunted house than I wanted. Like, that is a story plot, that is something that's happening. There's another element that's more prevalent throughout that I think was really poorly done and just felt really cringe to me. And so like, I just could not get behind the story. Like, I could not enjoy it. And it's funny because that element is something that I usually really enjoy in books. I just was not happy with how it was done here. I was just like, wait, what? That came out of nowhere. These things are happening. It feels unbelievable. Like, I don't agree. I'm not behind it. I'm just really sad. Like, really sad about this book. Fortunately, I did end up getting through a lot of books this week, and several of them were favorites. These three specifically blew my mind. I knew that I was going to enjoy The Death of Vivek Oji. I did not realize how much I was going to sob. This book had me. And then these two were pleasant surprise. I didn't know what to expect from Smash It, and The Weight of Blood, I had heard so many negative things that I thought I wouldn't enjoy it. Really happy with all of the positive books that came out of this week. We'll have all of these linked down below, so if you're interested in grabbing any of these, please do consider using my link because it does help the channel out at no extra cost to you. Check out some of my other reading vlogs if you want to hang out for a little bit longer, and I will catch you in the next video. Until then, bye!